You mentioned this week in DCA about the wallet that bought and then sold 600 Bitcoin for a quick scalp, and they made many millions of dollars. For those of us who want to learn more based on your experience, can you suggest how we might go about learning this? As always, thank you for everything you and the team do. My pleasure. So let's get into it. As you know, I track a lot of wallets. I've got this little indicator that fires off when a movement is made. And it's kind of interesting. But this one was regarding who I call Mrs. 200. So we had Mr. 100 who actually bought both yesterday and today. 109 yesterday, 119 today. I tracked them all. And Mrs. 200 did something very interesting. So I don't know who Mrs. 200 is. Mrs. 200 could actually be in cahoots with Mr. 100 because I see them playing around with each other, kind of testing the waters differently. So it would not surprise me if they're both part of the UAE or something else. But anyway, the trade that I mentioned on DCA on Monday, thank you, Jesus, for remembering it. And sometimes I say things I don't even remember. But on 30th of January 2025, Mrs. 200 sold 557 Bitcoin. And she sold them at $105,882.39, which is very close to the top at the time. And I'll try to show you how they did this. Sorry, this thing is pinging. Dead. Okay, good. Now, 2 days later, or 3 days later, on the 2nd of Feb, they bought back 568 Bitcoin for $93,679.75. So, rough calculation, 557 and 106K, pulled in 59 million, and then bought them back pretty much for 553 million. So netting a quick, easy, approximately $6 million in 2 or 3 days. This is the scalp. The question is, how would you do it yourself? So there's a couple of tools that we have to do this. First of all, I think, of course, I'm saying this in jest, but perhaps Mrs. 200 uses the IA-ATR model. But this is a 4-hour chart in the ATR. Normally, ATR is used for 6-hour, 12-hour, 24-hour. But it works very effectively on the 4-hour as well. And you can see the sell signal very clearly here at $105,000 and the buy signal at $94,000. Mrs. 200 sold at 105K and bought at 94K. So maybe they have this tool, I'm not sure. And they are also experimenting. But there's another way to do it as well, not just using the ATR model or IDSS, but we're going to be talking about this one a little later too, which is a little bit different. And again, when you get confluence across all indicators, it can give you a much better indication of where things are going. But this is, you could say scalping or swing trading on the 4-hour optimized trend. The sell signal did kick in at 105,000. But if you use this tool, there is no buy yet on the optimized trend. So it keeps you out of the trade. So Mrs. 200, if she was using this model, she would not be back in the trade. Again, we'll see what wins. We'll come back to this in a little while as well as to how people can trade effectively around this. But let's get to the second question. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, to make what does she make? $6 million in 2 days on the scalp, or 3 days. You need to move a lot of Bitcoin around. And they bought and sold a big bag of nearly 600 Bitcoin. So, but then again, it's a nice move, like nearly $12,000 delta in price in just 3 days. So yes, there are ways to do this, especially like if I lived in a tax-free world, I'd be doing this all day long.